Hello everyone, Therese Lawler here. So I wanted to talk about how to prepare for your TEFL course. So first things first, you must do your research. You have to search the internet for the perfect TEFL course for you. And the reason why that is because some people might be okay with just, getting a TEFL course online and then teaching English online. That's a great way to teach English. But some people would like to go to another country, like a Latin American country. In that case, you probably want to try to do your TEFL course in, let's say, Costa Rica, if you want to move to Costa Rica. That way you can get a job in Costa Rica. If you want to move to Thailand so you can experience the Thai culture, you need to get your TEFL course in Thailand. And the reason why that is because they have programs where they will help you open a bank account, they will help you find accommodation, they will help you find the best way to travel, they will help you learn about the culture, about the language, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people might speak a little bit of Thai, but Thai is a hard language because of the different ways they pronounce things. So the word my can mean like far and near, depending on whether your tone is rising and like or lowering. I'm not sure. All I know is that Thailand is, sometimes a hard country to move to, and if you don't have the proper support system to help you out, you might get lost. So, for those who don't have the proper support system for moving to Thailand and teaching in Thailand, a TEFL course in Thailand might be able to help you get set up in Thailand a lot better than, if you were to just go there on your own. You can also do a teach volunteer thing, a volunteer teaching program in Thailand. So, yes, there's a lot of different options for you, but definitely search the internet for the perfect TEFL course for you. So, the next thing is find out what country you would like to do your TEFL course in. That goes hand in hand with the searching the internet. Read books about TEFL. For me, I had taken a TEFL course in 2014 online, but I needed to get ready again for taking a TEFL course that was an in-class TEFL course in a foreign country. And so when I was waitressing at Janya Thai Delight, after I finished waitressing, I would come home and read a TEFL book. It was TEFL for Dummies, and that really helped me get in the right mindset for TEFL. And I also started watching a lot of Spanish music videos, watching Spanish movies on Netflix, and learning Spanish in general. And that helped me get ready for my TEFL program in Costa Rica. Watch YouTube videos online that other TEFL students have made. They are a great resource. YouTubers have all sorts of videos about their TEFL experiences, and some channels focus specifically on just TEFL and on the country that they're currently doing TEFL teaching in. And most likely one of their first videos will be about them having gone to TEFL school and what was the benefit to their TEFL school, or what was the con for the TEFL school, so on and so forth. They'll also compare for you. There's Camden, I believe is his name on YouTube, compared for me the pros and cons between Costa Rica and Thailand, and he talked about Costa Rica being more expensive than Thailand. However, for those who are new to TEFL and are very experienced in living abroad, I would have to suggest that you actually think about Costa Rica instead of Thailand. And the reason why that is because Costa Rica is a lot like the United States. So it won't be such a shock to you when you move there and do your TEFL course, TEFL teaching job. And also, most Americans have taken Spanish in school, and you probably know a little bit of Spanish, and that will help you get by in Costa Rica, as opposed to just moving to Thailand because it's cheaper, you'll make more money, and then you won't be able to have, as relaxing of a time because you don't know how to speak the language and you might get lost lots. So the next thing is talk to your family about your TEFL decision. I talked to my dad about my wanting to teach English abroad in Colombia, the Latin American country, and he was going to help me pay for half of my flight to there. And but I found out that I needed a better computer, and we talked about it. And it turns out that my keys on my computer were not working, my trackpad was not working, and that would have prevented me from having a nice, easy time making my lessons on my computer. So it was a good thing that I decided to get a computer instead of going to Colombia. I would have not been ready, as ready as I was to teach at Academia Europea, because I hadn't taken my in-class TEFL course that really helped me out a lot with teaching English in Costa Rica. Also, talk to your friends about your TEFL decision. Your friends will be a great resource. I talked to one of my friends about my TEFL decision and about the fact that I wanted to go to Costa Rica. He said he had been to Costa Rica a few times and that I would have a lot of fun in Costa Rica and I should do it. And so I did it, and it ended up being one of the best decisions ever. So definitely talk to your friends, because your friends will have traveled to other countries and they will have a different perspective that they can give you, advice on. And well, they'll have a different perspective that they can share with you, and that can help you make the correct decision as to what country to go. Because a lot of people want to go to Thailand, and I would say, if you talk to your friends, they'll probably suggest countries that they've been to instead, and then you can go to Thailand. So for me, like, I learned that, the best thing for me, because I've not really lived abroad. Yes, I've lived in the Philippines, but I'm from there. I have family there. I have friends there. I speak the languages, there I speak both Bisaya, and I understand Tagalog really well. And if I needed to speak it, I could speak it, or I could answer in English. I'm fluent in understanding Tagalog. So obviously the Philippines is not living abroad. That's living in the country that I lived in for 10 years growing up, and I'm very familiar with the country. Thailand is near the Philippines, but that doesn't mean it's a lot like the Philippines, because of the language difference. So the best thing for me is to, have gone to Costa Rica, and done my TEFL there, and then teach TEFL in Costa Rica. The really awesome best thing would have been to teach there for 1 year, and then after a year of teaching in Costa Rica and really getting my feet wet with teaching English, I could go to Thailand and teach English in Thailand. And then that would be like my second easy country to go to and really learn how to do TEFL in a country that I didn't really know the language in really well. Now, after teaching TEFL in Thailand for 2 years, 3 years, that would help me be ready to teach English in United Arab of Emirates, or a country in the Middle East, because not only then would I be, well, I would be getting paid more, but I would be moving to a new country in the Middle East that I was not familiar with. I'm not familiar with the culture. I'm not familiar with the language. At least with Thailand, it's similar to the culture of the Philippines. With Costa Rica, Costa Rica is very similar to the United States in, the infrastructure, the malls, the stores, everything pretty much. So, you want to ease yourself into these 3 different levels of difficulty, moving to these countries. You know what I mean? Like a country that is going to be a lot like the United States, that's going to be the easiest country to move to. A country that's like another country that you've lived in, that's going to be the second easiest country to move to. A country that you're not familiar with at all, that's far away, you've never been to, you're not familiar with the culture, that's going to be the toughest one. So don't move there right away, even though they're offering $3,000 to $5,000 a month for teaching English. So the next thing you need to do is find out your TEFL schedule. I found out my TEFL schedule right when I arrived, and I learned that my TEFL schedule was going to be easiest my first 2 weeks, and that if I needed to, do my sightseeing, going out, shopping, I should do it my first 2 weeks. Or learning Spanish, I should do it the first 2 weeks because my second 2 weeks would be really, really difficult because I had a lot of teaching to do. So that meant I had to plan a lot of lessons. And then I also had a lot of paperwork type things to do. I had to do a research paper on adjectives or adverbs or anything like that. I chose adverbs. And then I also had to do my book. I had to compile my book and then get it printed. I had to go to a printer and get my giant red book printed. So obviously I needed to do all the things that I wanted to do in Manuel Antonio my first 2 weeks. I got to go out my first weekend. I got to go to restaurants. I got to go shopping. But my second 2 weeks, I really buckled down and just stayed at my host mom's house most of the time or stayed in the classroom at Cozy Maximo Novel and just worked and worked. Looked through people's old books because we had TEFLers, old books that were there. I used those as guides to then create my TEFL book. But the key thing was finding out when I really need to buckle down, when I really needed to buckle down, and when I could have fun and just kind of, have a vacation. And I'm glad I got 2 weeks in of Spanish class. I did 1 hour every morning, but my third and fourth week, not only could I not afford to do that anymore, but I also didn't have time. I just did not have time because I was staying up till right before bedtime to do my homework, and then the next day I was waking up and then going, oh, I need to do this and this and this, and then it was enough to get everything just done by, I don't know, 8 a.m. I believe was class time. And so I'm glad that I had those first 2 weeks to really chill out, relax, get to know my classmates, get to know Manuel Antonio. And it was the best time ever. But, I really only had 2 weeks to do that kind of fun. Also, I had a day off, I believe Mondays, my first 2 weeks, just because our teacher had given us that because we were going to be buckling down really, really, really hard. Last week, our last week was the toughest one because we had to do we had to teach in front of students, and it was an hour of teaching, I believe, every single day for like a week. So I had to come up with an hour long lesson plan about that much. I don't remember exactly how long it was, or it seemed like an hour, but it might have been 30 minutes. I'm not sure, but it was something really long, but it was every day, and it took me forever to prepare for, and I was like, ah, but yeah, so our last week ended up being, not the normal class hours, and it was taking up more hours. And so we were allotted our first 2 Mondays day off so that we could have fun and also help. It was designed to help us prepare for the coming 2 weeks that were going to be really hard at the end of our course. Try to read some of your materials ahead of time once you get them. So I got my grammar book, and then I had one that was about teaching English methodology, pedagogy type book. I tried to read ahead so that I could get ready for our last 2 weeks. Even though, it was a tough last 2 weeks, it wasn't that bad. So don't have me scare you guys into taking TEFL. It just was a lot tougher than our first 2 weeks. Our first 2 weeks, we really skated by. It was easy stuff, grammar. Yeah, we already know that. It wasn't a big deal at all. But then the last 2 weeks, it was a lot of projects and stuff, like the paper, the teaching, and that made it seem hard. But really, I got through it just fine. I had a classmate who had just graduated high school, and he got through it just fine. He did an awesome job. The next thing is make sure to do your homework before going out. That's always key. If you go out right after TEFL and then you're hanging out at someone's apartment, and then you're like, well, I'm having fun, I'm just gonna stay here, sing more Bob Marley songs, not a big deal. Then next thing you know, once you are ready to go home, it's too late to start doing your homework and have that ready for the next day. So definitely don't go out first. Do your homework first and then go out. Next is do your tours before TEFL starts. I got lucky and was there, I think, Saturday. I arrived Saturday, I believe, something like that. And so I got to do my whitewater rafting tour that I didn't plan on doing before TEFL started, before Monday. My roommate was doing a whitewater rafting tour, and I thought, I'll just go ahead and do it. I went in like my pajamas because I wasn't ready. I had flip flops on. So I had like my pajama shirt, pajama boxer shorts. I had just woken up and I was like, I'll go with you to Maximo Nivel, and then I'll work on my computer or something. And then you can go on your whitewater rafting thing and I'll wait here. And then I was like, maybe I should go whitewater rafting. And then I talked to the whitewater rafting people and they were like, yeah, you can go whitewater rafting. And then they were like, you'll just have to get water shoes. And so I got water shoes. I rented water shoes through them. And then I got to go whitewater rafting. It was my first time doing that. So I was really excited. So yeah, try to do your tours ahead of time. Although, you don't have to. You can definitely do it on weekends. My classmates did lots on the weekends and I got to see all sorts of cool stuff, all sorts of cool wildlife in Costa Rica.